You ever feel like you're just throwing your resume into a black hole, sending application after application out, and just hearing nothing back? Well, you are definitely not alone. We're going to dive into a question that, honestly, thousands of people are asking online right now. Why is it so incredibly hard to land any kind of job? We're going to break down what a whole community of job seekers is saying about it, what they're going through, and what they've learned.
And this right here, this quote really gets to the heart of the whole thing. This came from someone who'd been laid off from a long-term career, and it just captures that raw frustration, that mental exhaustion that comes with the job search today. It's a relentless grind, and it's hard not to take it personally.
Okay, so just how bad are we talking here? Let's look at the numbers. The person who actually started this whole conversation, they'd sent out over 80 applications in just under 3 months. And you know how many interviews they got? 2. And get this, they were applying for entry-level service jobs, stuff way below their actual experience level, and still, crickets.
And believe me, that was just the beginning. It became really clear, really fast, that this wasn't just one person's bad luck. Someone else jumped into the thread. Their application count, it had just passed 275. I mean, we're going from a tough search to an absolute marathon, and the finish line is just nowhere in sight. And then you see a number like this one, 500 plus. This wasn't a recent grad either. This was someone with almost 20 years of experience, applying in different states, different fields, and tailoring their resume for every single job. The result? Still nothing. This just shows you the insane scale of the problem.
So all this effort, all these applications, and just silence. It leads to this shared experience that people in the thread started calling the application black hole. And honestly, it's the perfect way to describe it, right? That feeling of your resume, your experience, all your hope just vanishing. It's a name that really makes you feel understood.
And this is where the whole conversation really takes a turn. As more and more people shared their stories, this collective realization started to form, wait a minute, this isn't an us problem. This is a job market problem. The system itself feels broken. And just sharing that feeling, it creates this powerful sense of solidarity in what can be a really lonely process. Okay, so if everyone agrees the system is broken, what's actually wrong with it? Well, the community came up with a whole bunch of theories to try and explain that radio silence from employers. Let's dig into what they came up with.
All right, one of the biggest theories to pop up was the idea of ghost jobs. You've probably heard of this. It's where a company posts a job that looks totally real, but they have absolutely no intention of filling it. People were guessing why. Maybe it's to look like the company's growing, maybe it's just to collect a bunch of resumes for later, or maybe, they just forgot to take an old ad down.
And this user, they put it pretty bluntly. The thought that you could be spending hours and hours perfecting your resume for a job that doesn't even exist? It's a pretty cynical thought, but it's a suspicion that a lot of people share. And it would definitely explain why even a perfect candidate might never ever hear back.
But it wasn't just about ghost jobs. The community pointed to a whole bunch of other things. A lot of people are blaming those automated resume screeners, the ATS bots, that can just toss out a great resume because of one missing keyword. Then you've got the bigger picture stuff, like economic uncertainty making companies freeze hiring altogether. Some people think companies are just trying to find cheaper labor through outsourcing or visa programs. And of course, there's the big one looming over everything, AI. Is it already starting to take over some of these entry-level white-collar jobs?
But then we got a really interesting dose of insider perspective. Someone who said they were a hiring manager chimed in with a less, sinister explanation, especially for why things slowed down around the holidays. They pointed out that, hey, sometimes it's just that budgets for the new year haven't kicked in yet, or key people are on vacation. It can bring the whole process to a crawl for totally normal reasons.
Okay, next up is maybe one of the most frustrating catch-22s in the entire job hunt, the overqualified paradox. This is when you get rejected from a job you really need because you're seen as too good for it. This hits experienced professionals really hard when they're just trying to find anything to pay the bills.
And this chart just lays out the disconnect perfectly. On one hand, you've got the employer's fear. They're thinking, are we going to train this person just for them to leave in 3 months for something better? But on the other hand, the applicant's reality is just, look, I just need a job. I need to pay my bills while I keep looking for something in my field. Two totally different worlds.
So with all these problems laid out on the table, the conversation naturally shifted from what's wrong to what can we actually do about it. So this last part is all about hacking the job hunt. We're going to look at the community's best advice, the strategies, the tactics, both the normal ones and the not so normal ones.
Okay, so here's the playbook that came out of the discussion. Number 1, go direct.
People said to skip the giant job boards and just apply right on the company's own website. 2. Beat the bots. You've got to tailor your resume with the exact keywords from the job description. 3. Use your network. A personal connection can sometimes get you an interview when nothing else will. And here's a really creative one. Think local. Use something like Google Maps to find local companies that might not even be posting jobs online.
But, desperation can lead to some more extreme tactics. To get around that overqualified problem, a lot of people suggested dumbing down your resume, like strategically leave off your master's degree or that senior-level job title. Some people even admitted to creating fictitious resumes that were like 50% fiction just to get a foot in the door. And then others suggested going old school, just picking up the phone and calling companies directly to ask if they're hiring.
And this quote right here is such a powerful story that backs up that whole go direct strategy. This person was getting absolutely nowhere with the big job websites. So they just started finding the company's webpage, looking up the HR email, and sending their resumes straight to them. The result? They landed 6 interviews in the very first week. It just goes to show you that sometimes changing your whole strategy is what it takes to finally break through all that noise.
So where does that leave us? After all this, sifting through hundreds of applications, fighting against potential ghost jobs, trying to solve the overqualified puzzle, it really all boils down to this one big question. Is the job hunt today a test of your skills and experience, or has it just become a total game of luck? From everything we've looked at, that seems to be the question on everyone's mind.